that. We want to give the guns to the people. Now let's change the scenario. Same church, same people. And most of the people there, not all of them, but let's say most of them, are concealed carry weapons. Have concealed carry weapons, right? Now, when you have a concealed carry weapon, which I do, I love guns. I have a collection. You know, I think they're marvelous machines. I never killed anybody. I go to the range. I practice. I take them apart. I clean them. You know, it's a hobby. Now but I can tell you this: when I'm wearing concealed carry weapon, I am very conscious that I have it with me. It's not like, oh yeah, I have it on me, I forgot. No, you know you have it. You have it positioned in a certain way. You're wearing it a certain way, so it's not obvious that you have one. Even though this is an open carry state, I still conceal carry. And I wear it in such a manner, in the event that I needed it, I can access it very quickly. And there's literally 100 ways to do that. There are most ingenious ways of doing it. All right? So let's assume for a second. Now, I don't know how many people were in the church. Preston, do you know how many people were in that church?
I don't know. I can look it up, but no, I don't know.
It
was a small church, but
it was 40 people or something like that. There weren't many people in the church at the time, I don't think.
Okay, well, I can look that up. Yeah, because I don't have
Well,
that.
there weren't really many people in that church. But let's assume for a second, not everyone, but just 1/3 of them. I'm going to be light duty. 1/3 of them were concealed carry. And this guy got up, pulled out a gun, aimed it at someone. By the time that first bullet went off, this guy would have been Swiss cheese. Now, in that scenario, the guns were the good guys. The guns saved the lives of 8 people. But this president, who is so convoluted in his thinking, so corrupt in his thinking, so anti-American, so socialistic, so communistic, so fascistic. It's disgusting. It's this guy, and everyone who voted for this guy should be ashamed of themselves. They should be out in the street confessing to everyone in the street, saying, I voted for Barack Obama and I want to be forgiven. And let me tell you this, not that George Bush was any better. When are we going to start thinking that it's not them that make this country, it's us that make this country. I make this country. And this president of ours who says, I didn't build this business, other people did. Well, Mr. President, let me tell you something. About 15 years ago, a guy worked for me, and he was a really nice young guy, stole everything, stole my whole database, took my database, put on his computer, and scheduled all of the people that I had scheduled for the year. He put it in his name, and he scheduled with a truck that he got with this other guy. Destroyed my entire business. Now, I didn't destroy the business. He did. Where was the government? Nowhere. It was my problem. So what I did is day and night, I went out day and night on my own. There was just 2 people left in the company. The processing manager and myself. 2 people. And we built that company back all over again. Now, are you telling me I didn't do that? I didn't sleep overnight in a trailer on a cot. I had this 8-inch black and white TV to keep me occupied at night if I couldn't sleep in the cold, so I can be at a factory at 4 o'clock in the morning and test all the way till 7 o'clock at night. Day and night I worked. No help whatsoever. I didn't do that. Somebody else did that. And I got every one of my customers back and then some. And now I have the biggest occupational health testing company in the state of Oklahoma. Oh, I didn't do that. I had nothing to do with it. I was in a bar having a drink. I was collecting welfare checks. This guy is insane. And I'm afraid the next person that we get in office, some of these neocons that are running, are just as bad as he is. Only thing is, they just changed the issue. Instead of having this issue, they have that issue. But their logic is all the same. It's up to the government to determine how you will live. We will set the parameters, and then you will obey. And I don't care if you're Republican, neocon, conservative, liberal, progressive. It's all the same. It's government, 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 and you better obey things. As General Sunday says, don't forget to vote. You want to lose your rights and your liberties? Don't forget to vote. General Sunday is absolutely correct. Now, this guy should have killed everyone with a machete, because I wanted to hear the president get up, we need machete control. And everyone would have laughed at him. What would he have done if it was a machete? What would he say? Well, obviously we need gun control because the guy used a machete. Well, he couldn't do that. Now, I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories or whatever, but what's the probability? What is the probability? Is there one in 1,000 probability that maybe this guy was encouraged somehow psychologically? He went through the psychological brainwashing by federal agents to do exactly that. And why would he do that? Oh, so the president get up and say, I am tired of having to address the nation, on another unnecessary, brutal killing by use of guns. Well, to me, what that smacks of? It smacks of a government conspiracy. It's exactly what it is. I'm not saying it is. I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theory. But all I'm saying, you cannot rule that out. I was watching a historical on war. What's interesting is that everything that we heard about, all of the major wars that the United States has been through, every reason why we went to that war is incorrect. Historically incorrect, not by some wacko, but historically incorrect. Remember the Maine? Nope, never happened. Not the way they said it happened, Lusitania, didn't happen the way it happened. Pearl Harbor didn't happen the way it happened. Korea didn't happen the way it happened. Every single war we've been in, we lied through our teeth. And now we're going to say, we need gun control. And we hear it over and over and over again. And because the press is owned by the government, and you say, well, how does the government doesn't own the press? Sure they do, because major corporations own the networks. The major corporations, have, like General Electric, major contracts with the government. If they don't toe the government line, they lose the government contract. They lose the government contract, their per share price goes down, these guys lose money. And they don't care who the heck they screw, they don't care who suffers, who dies, they don't care. They follow the money. And if they have to lie, cheat, and steal in the news, then bingo. That's exactly what they say, because they're owned by the government. Now, it's a very simple system, folks. I mean, the system is so simple, it's ridiculous, and we don't think about it. What happens is that the way it works is that the government is a major employer in that it provides the funds for many activities. Let's say war, big one, right? Someone's got to make Humvees. Someone's got to make the metal plates. For example, I went to a factory one time, the company that we do business with, and which is still in business, which recently closed down, actually. But went to them, I said, what are you guys making? You had all these metal plates and all that. Very noisy factory. We do hearing testing, physicals, and stuff like that. For people who have to wear respirators, eye testing, and drug testing, and stuff like that. Anyway, and I said, well, geez, you guys are really busy. I said, you got all these metal plates lined up. I said, what are they used for? He said, oh, those are the undercarriage for Humvees to protect them from IEUs. I forgot what they call it, incendiary device, Anyway, I can't think of it. Well,
They know what they're talking about.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
The
bombs that go off when you step on them.
Exactly.
Anyway, and I said, well, that's interesting. But what was interesting was that just 3 years before, during a recession, the 2001 recession, man, they were near closed down. But then they got this big government contract. Well, you see, everyone's bought into the system. You don't abide by the government rules and regulations and don't play ball with them, you lose the contract. The same thing with the news media. What they do is that they own General Electric, for example. They make engines for airplanes and stuff like that. All right. Now, when the government goes to war, these guys make a fortune. So are they going to say, folks, war is bad? Oh, no, they're going to say we have to protect our homeland and become strong, and we need more planes with F-35, F-45, F-55, and trillions of dollars. Don't worry about it. You'll be in debt for the rest of your life. Your children will be in debt for the rest of You'll be indentured servants, but if it's for your own protection. And we believe that crap. When are we going to wake up? That it's not the government that runs the United States. It should be us. Read the Constitution. Read the Declaration of Independence. So what we hear is what the government needs to suck out of our brain, our bodies in order to survive. They need indentured servants, which we are, to feed that 0.1% who are becoming multimillionaires and now multi-billionaires. And what's really interesting is when you find people like, I say Hillary Clinton, I want to vomit, right? She was the most corrupt person in the world. She's worse than Barack Obama. I don't know if anyone can be worse than Barack Obama, but, probably on par with him. And here she is talking about the wealthy. Well, she's talking about herself. She makes $300,000 for giving a canned speech that says nothing. $300,000. And she's talking about the wealthy, and we've got to do something about the wealthy. Yeah. How about you do something? Why don't you jump in the ocean? That'll take care of one person. But no, we go, oh yes, I'm up for Hillary. She's for the people who are the underprivileged. No, she's not. She's probably the Council of Foreign Relations. She's probably the Bilderberg Group. All the big, the world bankers, the world industrialists that control the world, that want to see a construction of the world in a fashion in which they profit and we become slaves. Very simple. It's not a theory. It's not conspiracy. It's fact. Just look. Look at the turn of the century, 1900. There was no income tax. There was no nothing. Immigrants came here, didn't speak the language. They got, what was in their mind was productivity. They wanted to produce. They wanted to do something with their hands. They wanted to do something with their minds. They wanted to be educated. They wanted to learn the language. They wanted to open a store. They wanted to produce. They wanted to be productive members of society. They wanted to exceed. They wanted to become wealthy. And when I say wealthy, I mean out of poverty, not wealthy like we see people with $1 billion houses today. I mean just be able to pay the bills and raise their children and send their children to a good college so they can get a good job doing productive work. But not today. Oh, no, that's all gone. Now we wait for the government to give us subsidies so we can do what they want. This is not America, folks. If you want to know if America is exceptional, it sure is. It's exceptionally stupid. It's exceptionally ignorant. It's exceptionally lazy. It's exceptionally overweight. It's exceptionally narrow-minded. And we talk about terrorism. Ask every country around the world, people in every country, who are the terrorists? They'll say, United States. Why? They bomb everybody. And this guy, Barack Obama, he's an amazing guy. He talks about the person that, killed 8 people in a church because of lack of family. And why is there lack of family? Hey, good question, huh? Hey, how about maybe the welfare system? A person can go on welfare and subsidies and whatever and maybe have more kids. And this crosses racial lines. Don't even go there, I know plenty of people who are lighter than me in color, who take advantage of all the systems that they have here. And if there were none, they'd be working. I can tell you that right now. And none of them are African American. I'm not referring to them. But people now are waiting for the government to do something for them. That's America. Yeah, we're exceptional. We're an exceptional country. We're exceptionally lazy. Look around you. Look at a film of 1934. The 1930s. Just look at the film. Look at the people and the way they dressed. They wear suits. But people game suit. People were thin. They had good figures. They worked hard. And now everyone is, just blown up. They don't care about how they look. They don't care how they talk. But they do know one word: awesome, man. Awesome. Every other word that people say is awesome. How's the weather? Awesome. It's just awesome. Because we're so stupid, we can't think. We can't think past one stupid word. Now, let's get back to the shooting. Now, if there was a strong family, why wasn't the family on TV saying whatever? I mean, I don't know what they would say. The family should be on TV, not the president. The president's not my father. No president's ever been my father. Nor Washington, nor Eisenhower, nor Kennedy, nor Lyndon Johnson, nor Reagan. None of them. They're not my father. This is not like Star Wars. I am your father. And this is not Star Wars. This is reality. I want to see the mother and father of that child on TV and explain to me why his son killed those 8 people. But no, we don't have the family. God forbid. Family means nothing. The family doesn't even count. It's the president that counts. So we all have to bow down and wait for the emperor to come in and tell us exactly what needs to be done. But he won't touch family values, that's for sure, because that divorces people from the government and makes for a cohesive, independent society, and that's the very last thing that he wants. When is America going to wake up to that? It wasn't that the guy had the gun, it's that there weren't enough guns in the church. There was a lack of guns. I go to church, I carry a gun. How do I know what someone's going to do? There could be a nutcake. What if someone in front of me stands up and points a gun to my wife? I'm going to sit there and say, well, I'm in church, I don't carry a gun. No, I'm going to blow the guy's head off. I've never killed anyone, I never shot at anyone. I've never fired a gun illegally anywhere. If I fire a gun, I go to the range and wear hearing protection and obey all the rules. I got a concealed carry permit. I make sure everything is done according to Hoyle. And these progressives, the progressive mind. I love the word progressive, don't you? It's like saying, by the way, I'm a good guy. That's my new type, good guy. Well, I'm a good guy. hey, how could I be wrong? I'm a good guy. Well, a person says I'm a bad guy. A progressive. You don't want to be regressive. Could you imagine me calling I'm a regressive? Well, you're a bad guy. All right, I think right now we have our guest on the program. Okay, I guess we're a half hour off. Vernon, is that you?
That is me.
Okay, Vernon, thank you so much for calling in. Not on video. You're not on video, Vernon. How come? Are you on Skype?
I'm on Skype, and if somebody could give me some technical...
All right, we will give you technical expertise because we have Preston here, and the man is an absolute genius. I'm lying to you, but he's an absolute genius. Okay? But you gave me an opportunity to rant for a half hour that I wanted to rant anyway, so that's good. Okay, Preston, get him on. Do you want to go to commercial while you do that? Would that be a good idea? Can we do that?
Vernon, I mean, are you connected to? Do you have a video camera?
I do, and if you just tell me where I'm supposed to pick on the thing so we can get off audio and have audio and visual, I will do that.
Well, did you when I called you? Did you answer?
I clicked on the wrong button. I clicked on.
Well, if you want, we could just hang up this call, and you could just I could recall you, and then try to get you on a video call. So what I might do is just go ahead and end this call, and I'll call you back.
You want to go to commercial at the same time?
I have.
Oh, here we go. Yep, there we go. No,
we got him. Okay, very good.
There we go. No, we got it.
Vernon. Okay, very good. All right, Vernon, you have light in the background, so you're a shadow at this point. You're a silhouette. Can we improve the lighting? Because right now we can't see you at all. There you go. You're almost as good looking as I am, let me tell you. All right, now we need your head up further. Can you get him up a little further? There you go. All right, yeah. Now a little bit more to your right.
That pizza is right, yeah.
There you go.
There, yeah.
Okay, you're framed perfectly. All right. I don't want anyone on this program better looking than me because I'm very selfish. You know that.
That's right. It might hurt the ratings.
Okay, Vernon. Now, do you want to go to a break first?
Do you want to?
Yeah,
let's-
Vernon, we're going to go to break since it's on the half hour, so we can come back and come right back to you. Don't go away, please.
Okay.
Back.
You're listening to Liberty Talk Radio. Political talk derived from a historical perspective. Not always palatable, but good food for thought. Pure libertarian talk with host Joe Cristiano. LibertyTalkRadio.com.
Express Test is your go-to company for on-site occupational health testing services. That's right, we said on-site. That means we will meet you at your facility for a free health and occupational safety consultation. Express Test specializes in hearing conservation, respiratory protection, and employee safety. We can help you establish viable programs tailored to your business and employee needs. For your free consultation, call 918-743-2929 or visit us at expresstest.com. That's 918-743-2929 or expresstest.com. Do you find yourself asking, what did you say? Aaron Cristiano of Ranch Acres Audiology has over 25 years of experience helping patients just like you.
Hearing requires conservation. We need to be aware and we need to be responsible for our own hearing health.
Understand more with a little help from Ranch Acres Audiology. Call 918-749-7711. That's 918-749-7711 to learn more. We'd like to thank attorney Constance Squires for her support of Liberty Talk Radio. If you want a comprehensive way to affordably avoid legal issues, call Constance Squires. For a free consultation, call 918-254-9283 or go online at isthyWillDone.com.
Steve Harden of the Harden Insurance Agency has over 30 years of experience designing family insurance protection, including retirement planning. Call 918-488-0024 or go to hardenagency.com and request a free in-depth estate and retirement evaluation. We look forward to earning your trust and helping you meet your life goals.
This isn't your typical talk radio show. This is Liberty. Liberty Talk Radio.
Back. This is Joe Cristiano. Welcome back to Liberty Talk Radio. Our guest today is Mr. Vernon Robinson, a former U.S. Air Force captain, conservative political activist, former candidate for U.S. Congress, and former city council member of Winston-Salem. He was born in my hometown of New York City. I want to ask you about that a little later on, Vernon, but raised in L.A. Mr. Robinson is also taught business administration at Winston-Salem State University and obtained his MBA at the University of Missouri. That would be Mizzou, right? Are you a Mizzou fan?
That would be.
All right, go Mizzou. I root for them myself. All right. He has been quoted by saying that the biggest problem today is not racism, it's the destruction of the family. I could not agree with him more. In fact, that's what I ranted about the first part of our program. It is my pleasure now to present to you Mr. Vernon Robinson. Vernon, thank you very much for being on our program.
I'm glad to be here, and I left New York when I was 3, so anytime I can get on a subway and not get lost, I consider it a major accomplishment.
Well, I'm an East Harlem boy, and I sang doo-wop back in the 50s. I'm a little older than you are, and I cherish those days, believe it or not. And I remember the projects, and I can probably talk about 3 weeks on my experience in New York City and what I did there, and as different as it was than we are here in Oklahoma. There was something about New York, as good and bad as it was very attractive and still very attractive to me. In fact, and I'm proud to say that I believe that my singing group was called the Tempers at the time. No one knows them because it's too long ago. We were the first fully integrated singing group in New York. We had Freddie was our lead. He was an African American guy, and our second tenor was Carlos Rivera, and he was Puerto Rican, and we had a great time, and we sang some of the Skyline songs, and Freddie was better than the original. He was fantastic, loved him. And when my father found out, that I had a fully integrated singing group, my father was from the old country, of course I was disowned and thrown out of the house, but he finally came around. But, he's a good man, but, he was of the old school, and it was really tough. But anyway, I want to thank you so much for being on our program. Now, are you a campaign manager or some sort of official person within the Ben Carson campaign?
No, I'm the campaign director of the 2016 committee, formerly known as, I feel like Prince, formerly known as the National Draft Ben Carson for President Committee. So
okay.
When he announced, we had to change the name of the super PAC, but it was the super PAC that made the case on why he should run and convince him to run, and also to raise the money and build a political infrastructure from scratch that a neurosurgeon would need to run for president, because he doesn't have Bush Inc. that he can inherit, or Hall Inc. that he can inherit, or the fundraising base of the governor of Texas. So that's
I understand that.
what I do. I'm the campaign director for a super PAC, the 2016 committee that exists to promote the candidacy of Dr. Benjamin Carson.
Well, I applaud you, because we had John Philip Sousa IV last week. In fact, we were going to try to get you on the same time, but we couldn't arrange the scheduling that way. And I'll tell you what I told John Philip Sousa, and that is, I love Ben Carson. I think he's the most genuine person I have ever heard talk about our country in a long time. He is sincere, and he is focused in what he wants, and he is a true conservative. And I will put in it, provided that he accepts 2 or 3 items that I'd like for him to change his position on. I want to put my name in the hat to run as his vice president. Would you tell him that?
Well, I don't get to talk to Dr. Carson anymore except to ask him, how's the wife, how's the kids, and how's the weather? Because anything else could be possibly construed as coordination, which is not legal.
I know. Well, you can always tell him that you know an insane person who's a talk show host from East Harlem, New York, that wants to be your vice president. I mean, he can't say no.
I can always. I'm sure that the boys over at and women over at the Carson America Authorized Committee watch all the media and watch your show, and they will know that you want to be his running mate.
Oh yeah, I would be a great running mate.
Under certain circumstances.
Right. Well, there are. I do have, and not that he is. I don't want to correct him, but I really wish he would change, because he's missing about 10 million votes, in my opinion, if he could only alter his position or see a different perspective on 2 or 3 issues, and we'll talk about that later. Tell me, why did you decide to embark on this particular mission of yours?
Well, I agreed with the individuals who started putting the PAC together that the field is extremely weak, and that Hillary Clinton would mop the floor with them, and that Dr. Carson, in order to beat Hillary with the electorate that elected Barack twice, in order to win, knowing that the Reagan coalition can no longer, first of all, no longer exists. I mean, all the Reagan Democrats are either dead or Republicans now. And so the Reagan coalition can no longer elect a president of the United States. You have to broaden the base of the GOP and stay true to conservative principles at the same time. And there are some fellows who can do one or the other. There's 2 fellows who can't do either. And there's 1 fella who can do both. So that is number 1. Number 2, it's important to have a guy who's a straight shooter, who the public perceives as honest, and who in fact is honest, who has courage. If you look at the House and Senate GOP leadership, they're hiding under their desks. Rush Limbaugh was teasing them, saying that if Barack decided not to leave office, they wouldn't do anything. So if you compare that level of lack of courage to Dr. Carson standing up on national television 6 feet from the emperor and telling him he has no clothes,
right?
That is a significantly higher level of courage. And finally, Dr. Carson may be the only guy because of his tremendous story and ability to bond with all the American people, is the only guy who can heal the nation.
Yep.
In a nation that is torn apart worse than any time since 1865.
Yeah, I think we have, the Republicans have one of the worst lineup that I have seen in years. I mean, they all sound the same. They change their position week by week depending on what kind of feedback they're getting, what the polls say or whatever, or opinion polls say. And they waffle on the issues, and when they're called to task on a particular issue, they start fumbling and making excuses, and, well, we're going to do this and that. But let me diatribe a little bit, because I know where Ben Carson stands. He is for more individual freedom, freedom of choice and all that, and I'm with him 100%. And what I particularly like about him, and I'm not just saying this because you're on the air, I've said this before, is that he is sincere in what he's doing. Now, I can be sincere in what I'm doing and really feel that way and sleep at night, but I could be misguided. It could be that I'm missing an element, and if I throw that element in, I may sort of alter my position, and that would be fine. And this is what I want to do, because I'm telling you, I'm a real fan of Ben Carson. I really am. Now, I am a liberal, but not a liberal in the traditional sense. I'm a liberal in that I believe everyone can do anything they want. They are independent. Each person is independent in and of themselves and can do whatever they want, provided that they not infringe upon the equal rights of others. So if you compare me as a liberal to what we consider liberal traditionally, which is government interference, we're 180 degrees apart. Okay, understand that?
So this is a classical liberal in the sense of John Locke or John Stuart Mill, etc.
That is correct. In other words, I'm an ultra conservative. I'm a classical or ultra conservative, depending on how you look at it. So we use these terms and no one knows what they mean. So understand, I'm in the same boat with Ben. Here's my problem. Ben, they're around, I would guesstimate, somewhere about a good 10 million voters out there that are generally young people who are tired of listening to the war on terror, the war on drugs, the war on immigrants, and all these other war things, war concepts that we have that are all wrong. They're all wet. They'll never be fought. They'll never win. They'll never get better. They'll just result in more government regulation. And I think this is what Dr. Carson is looking at. He's saying, hey, we got to get government out of things. We can't get government out of things if we persist in believing these concepts that don't hold true. And I'll give you my favorite one, all right? The war on immigration, all right? In other words, secure our borders. You can't secure our borders. That's not possible, because we have about 15,000 miles of borders, and if someone wanted to come here, they can get a rowboat from Mexico, row it all the way to the southern part of Texas, and those beaches, the level of the water on those beaches is so shallow, you can literally row right up to a beach, get off, and you're in the United States. No one would know it. I mean, you cannot possibly secure 15,000 miles. We can't secure 200 feet. My point is this, is that we came here to America only because the Native Americans, the ones that own this land, right, gave us permission to come here, and they gave us green cards, right? No, we came here, and what we did is that we took their land, we took their possessions, we took whatever values that they had, we threw them off the land, we slaughtered many of them, we raped their women, we took everything that was holy to them, and we took it for ourselves. This is how America was settled. And what's really interesting is the southern part of the United States was owned by Mexico. And after Mexico was weakened, and our army was, I won't get into the history of it, but basically we overpowered the Mexicans, took the whole southern part of the United States and said, now this is the United States. In other words, we took over this land by force. But now that we called it, that we made up these new imaginary lines and states lines and country lines or imaginary lines. There's nothing there. I mean, you can't tell one blade of grass from the other. We drew these lines. We say, ha-ha, now you have to go through all of these rigmaroles to come here. What I suggest for Dr. Carson is that he advocate open borders 100%. And if people come here, that's fine to work. They can come here, and they then are subject to the rules and regulations of the United States, which may be very different than the country they came from. And if they break the rules, they go to jail. Now, if they come here, they're not eligible for any benefits whatsoever unless they apply for citizenship. Very simple. You end the war on immigration. You get young people to come to the United States. We're not having kids anymore. We're having fewer and fewer children. We can replenish the United States with young people who are working hard and taxpayers, similar to what we did 100 years ago. What's wrong with that synopsis?
Well, first of all, your one federal judge is ruling away from requiring to cover all of those immigrants with welfare programs. So that's one problem with it. The second
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Say that again. I didn't understand what you meant by that.
That if you cut a deal saying that in exchange for open borders, that we are going to deny the formerly known as illegal immigrants benefits, welfare benefits, educational benefits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you're one federal judge away from requiring that all of those individuals be covered by all of the federal programs under the 14th Amendment. So,
yeah, but Dr. Carson's in favor of not doing that, right? Am I correct? I mean, he's on the same page as I am. They get nothing unless they apply for citizenship and they become citizens. They can come here to work if they want.
What I'm saying is that you're saying that they don't get any benefits. A federal judge will rule that they are going to get the benefits. So that's a problem.
Well, no, that's my point. My point is that we can't base one program based on another illogical, illegal, and immoral program. I would say get rid of all the benefit. Now, if we want to be true conservatives, we would say get rid of all the programs.
That's not going to happen. But there's a couple of other things that are challenges, and you have to decide what constitutes a nation. You have to teach people how to be Americans. You have to teach the people who are born here how to be Americans. You have to teach the people who come here as immigrants how to be Americans. And right now, the public schools are doing neither. They are not teaching the founding principles of this country to either the immigrants or the Native Americans, and as native-born Americans. And so what you have are Obama zombies coming out of the public schools. Let
me stop you there. We should get rid of the public schools as well. You see, we keep on trapping ourselves. No, Vernon, we trap ourselves because we say we can't do this because of this other illegal, immoral, and unethical program. Thus, we have to continue to be illegal, immoral, and unethical, and fattening, by the way. I'll throw fattening in too, I
know, but your viewers are not really interested in my policy views. And it is much more fun to talk about what has happened in the course of the campaign and et cetera, something I can talk about, as opposed to I can't influence policy. I don't do policy. All I do is look at his speeches and put that on the website, because we can't influence his policy and we can't make policy by ourselves. So, in other words, it's an interesting intellectual conversation about whether you can open the borders and whether you will still have a country if you do that.
We did that for 200 years, and it was never a problem. It's really only the last 70 years that we've had borders that we really patrolled. Before, people came and went. Do you know when immigration from Mexico and the United States? Do you know when it stopped? You know when it actually came to a screeching halt? You know what year that was?
In '63, when they got rid of the Becerra program.
Nope, the Depression. Because there were no jobs. Very simple. It's a matter of supply. It's a free enterprise system.
Well,
we should be a free enterprise country. If there are jobs, people come. If there are no jobs, people don't come. But we're not addressing how we took the land from the owners of the land, the American Indians, and said, now it's ours. But now that it's ours, I'm sorry, you can't come in. Sorry about that, because there are rules and regulations. But it was no rules and regulations when we killed the American Indians to take their land.
We have the most generous immigration policies of anybody, and certainly more generous than Mexico.
But we're not addressing the basic issue that we're saying that, well, now that I've killed you, I can take over, I can take your business, and if you want to work for me, you have to abide by certain rules. You say, well, wait a minute, you just killed this guy to take his business. I say, let's not talk about that. Let's not do that.
I can't change Dr. Carson's position. His position is we need to secure the borders of the United States, and that after we do that.
All right, then how are you going to do that? Vernon, let me ask you this. First of all, he better be careful, because I may rescind my request to become his running mate. So you better be very careful, okay?
I'm supporting Susana Martinez, the governor of New Mexico, for his running mate. But in any event,
wait a minute. How would you secure the borders?
You have 24-hour drone patrols over the borders, controlled by either the Army or the Air Force, and you have either Border Patrol or sheriff's deputies ready to arrest, detain the individuals. So that is how you do it.
We can't do that now. We're doing that now with a small segment with a 40-foot, 20-foot wall, and we can't keep them out. It's not possible.
They're not interested in keeping them out. We don't really have. We have not made an attempt at securing the borders. Let's get real here. There was a bus full of illegals rolling through North Carolina, trying to ape the Freedom Riders of the '60s. And when I was an elected official, I called the Charlotte folks in the Bureau of Immigration Control and Enforcement, basically known as ICE, and I said, gentlemen, as an elected official of this jurisdiction, there's a bus going to arrive at 12 p.m. at this location on this date, and I demand that you stop that bus and arrest everybody in there who's an illegal alien and deport them. And the guy chuckled on the phone and said, Councilman, I can throw a stick out of the Charlotte federal building and hit an illegal alien.
Right. He's absolutely right.
The bottom line is I have two people for Western North Carolina, and whatever the number was, it was a small single-digit number. And all we can hope to do is detain drug lords and other serious felonies, and that's it, and sex offenders. That's all we can do, and that's all we are going to do. So I'm not going to be there to stop that bus and arrest all the illegal aliens.
But why are we illegal? See, we have to go back. We have to have a principle that we believe in and that we can support. I am an illegal alien. I'm not American Indian. No one gave me the right to be here. My father came here on a ship, came through Ellis Island. They asked him his name. He couldn't speak English, came here with no money, and and had nothing. I mean, he couldn't speak English. Nothing, and in fact, of course, it was right before World War II, and he was pro-Mussolini at the time, and yet he opened up. He started a company and employed 200 people, and he didn't speak English. I mean, come on. I mean, this is what this country is about, and we're saying we want to create a police state to monitor 15,000 miles of border. It's not possible.
You don't have to go create a police state. You only need a few good Marines. And
15,000 miles. 15,000 miles. How are you going to do that? 15,000 miles.
We've already experimented doing parts of the border doing this, and they detain. They saw when the folks came in, they stopped them. They arrested the ones that had the drugs. They detained the ones who were just coming across the border and sent them back. You have to decide on what constitutes a nation. Are we a nation state or not? Now, I can't really litigate whether we're going to give the land that James K. Polk took by force back. That's not a useful discussion when the federal budget is almost 44% out of balance, and we have to borrow money from communist Chinese generals and
no, I agree with you, but we're not going to solve the problem with Ben Carson's position. We're going to exasperate it. That's listen. I'm for the guy. I want to see the guy win, but he's not going to win based on this program. He's going to sound like all the other neocons.
Ben Carson will balance the budget. He's the only guy talking about a balanced budget, and so. That's the first step. You have to say, we have to have a balanced budget in this period of time, not 24 years like about. It requires pain, and that's one of the things. In order to, since every dime of the federal budget is somebody's rice bowl, you have to have the personal integrity, and the American people have the confidence in you that you are a straight shooter and not a politician. When you say, we need to cut the federal budget in half in order to balance it.
Right.
And this is how we're going to do that.
Well, how is he going to do that then, Vernon? How is he going to balance the budget? What is he going to knock off? If he's going to secure the borders, he's going to increase the federal spending exponentially. But how is he going to do that?
If he just went to a fair tax, he could put all those unemployed folks in the IRS, the bureau formerly known as the IRS, and put them to work as
I agree. I'm for the fair tax. I'm 100% for the fair tax. Everyone pays, and maybe you exempt things like food and medicine and stuff like that. You can exempt just those items. So, if you are the extremely poor and whatever, and you want to just buy bread, milk, and eggs, you don't have to pay a tax. But everything else is taxed. If I'm a multi-billionaire and I buy a $400 million yacht, I will pay the 14.5%, whatever it is. On that. By the way, Vernon, we have someone on the phone on line 1. You're on the phone. Your first name, where you're calling from, please.
Yeah, my name's Big Al. I'm from the Bronx, but I'm actually calling from Colorado. How are you?
Okay, fine, thank you.
Yeah,
I never understood why Queens Hospital was in
I'm sorry. We had a. Please repeat your question. Yes, repeat your question, please.
Yeah, my question is, I haven't been able to hear the whole show, but I was just wondering, as far as international affairs issue, as far as should we go full force? Because again, some of my people back in New York would like us to just take everybody out. And let's get this over with.
Yeah, let's be a peace-loving nation and kill everybody. Let's see what Vernon has to say about that. Vernon, what say you on that issue?
Well, I wanted to let your viewers know, or listeners know, whichever one they're doing, that they can get more about Dr. Carson's position on dealing with ISIS, other foreign affairs issues, and also a range of policy issues, either on the website www.runbenrun.org or download the app also named Run Ben Run for your iPhone or Droid, and you can hit the question, what should we do about ISIS, and get a video answer from Dr. Carson, which I think is more authentic than anything I might say on this show. But in the main, Dr. Carson believes that ISIS does pose a threat to the clear and present danger to the United States, and needs to be crushed, and that we shouldn't play games and wait as we get weaker and they get stronger to do something about it.
So he doesn't believe that he doesn't believe in our founding fathers' principle of no foreign entanglements.
Well, when ISIS is using the internet to recruit American citizens to commit terrorist acts in the United States, that's not a foreign entanglement.
Well, what about our terrorist attacks on them? What about our drone attacks on them, where for every person we purportedly take out that we suspect to be a terrorist, we kill maybe 14 innocent men, women, and children? How is that not a terrorist act?
The whole thing's a battlefield. Is well within the rules of war.
Okay. Well, my point being is that
I think it's unfortunate that they're cowards, that they hide behind women's skirts.
Well, no, wait.
And those women are then killed. Those women are then killed when we put a bomb into where that person is. But yes,
Yeah,
it
well,
is
we
unfortunate
anticipated that
people
you would
get
be on
killed
here at 8
because
o'clock.
ISIS folks are cowards.
Okay. No, and listen, I'm not giving ISIS the right. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that we have to be right. But if we're not right, also, we don't have any right to speak. Now, unfortunately, we got our timings mixed up when we thought you were coming on at 8 o'clock. So this threw everything else off. And so we only had a half hour, and we have to cut off, unfortunately. I want to end my segment of it by saying, and Cole, thank you very much with that question. But my point is that I think the guy is sincere. Of the ones that are running now, Ben Carson would be heads and above all the others that are running. My point being is that he needs to really rethink his position on open borders, on the war on terror, the war on drugs. All those he needs to rethink and think of it from a perspective of a more libertarian approach of saying we are, as people, can do whatever we want provided we do not infringe upon the equal rights of others, and get out of all the foreign entanglements, bring everyone home, and that's how you can reduce the budget, within 3 months. But I'll let you have the last 60 seconds. Vernon, go forward, and thank you very much for being our guest.
Make him the Libertarian nominee.
Absolutely. Why not? Nominee. He would be a classical liberal, and that's exactly what he should be. But go ahead. I agree.
But that's not what he's running for. Basically, we only have one sacred obligation, and that's to leave an America that is more free, or at least as free, as the one in which we were born, to our children and grandchildren. And absolutely, we've failed in that obligation. So if your listeners and viewers make America America again, heal the nation, then I invite them to join with me to make Ben Carson president of the United States at www.runbenrun.org.
Okay. Vernon, thank you so much for being on our program. We certainly do appreciate it. And good luck to Ben Carson. And I would love for you to tell him what I said, okay, and see what his reaction is, all right? And he's welcome to be on this program at any time. I'd love to have him on the program if we can arrange that.
My next stop from New York City, by the way, when I was 3.5, was Oklahoma City for a half a year.
Oh, okay.
When my father went through the training facility, FAA training facility in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Then on to LAX on the West Coast.
I see. All right. And go Mizzou, okay?
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much for being on our program. Folks,
take care. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Folks, this is the end of today's program. We'd like to thank our sponsors for the financial support, and we'd like to thank you for listening in. This program to your friends, but let us hear from you. Our email address is comments@libertytalkradio.com. Remember, folks, you're either allowing your liberties to be taken away or you're striving to protect them. Unfortunately, as my wife would say, there is no middle ground. Until next time, this is Joe Cristiano. You've been listening to Liberty Talk Radio. Stay well, stay tuned.